Denis Shmyhal is the Prime Minister of Ukraine. He's in Kyiv. Hello, Prime Minister. Good to meet you and good to have you on our program this evening.
Good evening, dear Vashi.
Prime Minister, the EU today is proposing a full Russian oil ban for its member states. How important is it that a full embargo be in place?
It is very important. One of the most important things is to create full embargo for oil and gas, because Russia is country terrorist which finance terrorism against of Ukrainian people. They make genocide and crime against humanity on the territory of Ukraine, and all of these crimes are financing from the Russia budget. So budget is fulfilled by money earned because of the selling oil and gas. And I would like to note that Canada was one of the first country which make this embargo for oil and gas from Russia. And I would like to say our biggest gratitude to Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, and Vice Prime Minister Freeland. So they make their own efforts, and all the government of Canada. And thank you for this.
Prime Minister, Canada imports far less oil and gas than Europe does. And you mentioned the gas part of it as well. And I do want to ask you, because the embargo the EU is talking about right now is focused on oil, not gas. And Europe is very dependent on Russian gas as well. The German ambassador to Canada on this program said to me last week, if Germany thought cutting off Russian gas would stop Putin from invading Ukraine, they would do it, but they don't think cutting off gas will stop Putin from invading Ukraine. Do you agree with that?
We can see that many European countries are so much dependable on Russian gas, and we understand, and these European countries understand that during this winter, for example, they have energy crisis because of Russia have influenced on the European Union and on that countries because of this gas supplying, like they use it like hybrid weapon.
Do you think if Russian oil and gas exports were completely cut off, do you think that would stop Putin's invasion?
It will not stop invasion immediately, but it will help us to fight against them, because they will begin weaker and weaker during the time, because of they will have no money to finance these crimes and this war.
Canada has supplied military aid to Ukraine. We are having a little bit of a challenge in figuring out how much of that aid has actually been received by Ukraine. Can you help us understand how much Canadian military aid, lethal aid, is actually in the hands of the Ukrainian military?
I would like once again to gratitude to Canada government, to Canada people for support, strong support of Ukraine, because Canada always was initiator of new methods of support of Ukraine. First of all, I should note that Canada initiated, and Prime Minister and Vice Prime Minister initiated to support Ukraine financially, and Canada gives us $1 billion Canadian through the special IMF administrative account. Another one issue and another one option is support of Ukraine in military sphere through the weapon support. It was $500 million Canadian, which Canada make for Ukraine. We also so much appreciate this support. And we also are working with government of Canada and with Prime Minister of Canada under the next step. It's confiscating of frozen actives, of frozen assets of Russia in Canada. Russia as state and Russian oligarchs, and not just frozen, but confiscation and next transition of this money, these assets to Ukraine for recovery our country. And I hope that it will work, and I also will ask government to finish this work, and to will ask Parliament to support this legislative initiative of your government.
The $500 million of lethal aid that you mentioned, of military aid, we have spoken to an MP, for example, from Ukraine, who said, and this was maybe a week ago or more, that they didn't know how much of that was coming or when it was coming. Can you tell us, of that $500 million or of the Canadian aid that's been promised, how much is actually on Ukrainian soil?
So for now, we are waiting for buying this weapon. We ask for heavy weapons, so we need armored vehicles, tanks. We need MLRS systems, so named multi-launch rocket systems. So all of this we are waiting that we will buy with our partners, and which of them will be on soil in Ukraine, it will be opened later after the war will finish, because you understand that this information is very sensitive and we do not make it publicly. But in any way, we are very transparent and we make all the reports for all the money and all the weapons for our partners, and it will be opened immediately as it will be possible.
In recent weeks, Prime Minister, we've seen a number of politicians visit Kyiv to see the damage, the destruction for themselves, and also now the effort to essentially rebuild in the capital city. Do you think that Canada's Prime Minister or Deputy Prime Minister should visit Kyiv?
We are waiting them so much. We will be very glad. It will be a big honor for us to host here your Prime Minister, your government members, Vice Prime Minister. So if nearest time it will be possible, we will be very glad. It will be a big signal and symbol of support of Ukrainians by the Canadian government, because one point is support by finances, by sanctions, by weapon, but another point of view is when high-level politicians visited our country and demonstrate right here their friendly relation to our country. So we appreciate this so much and wait your Prime Minister and your government members here in Ukraine anytime.
Have there been any conversations with Minister Freeland, for example, about the possibility of a visit?
We have absolutely regular conversation and negotiations with Vice Prime Minister Freeland and with Prime Minister Trudeau. We discuss all very, very important questions, issues, challenges. For example, for the last times we discussed challenge of food crisis in the world, but we always invite your government to Ukraine. So I hope that they will visit our country not a long time in future.
And just quickly, to your knowledge, are there any extra security concerns for, let's say, the Prime Minister here in this country versus the Prime Minister of the UK? Is there any difference in the security concerns?
I should say that here in Kyiv is relatively safety and relatively quiet because we liberate Kyiv region, Sumy region, Chernihiv region. So the main war now is in the west part of Ukraine, on the east part of Ukraine, and on the south part of Ukraine. But unfortunately, Russians are bombing all the Ukrainian territory by rocket missiles. So danger is existing, but if compare with times when Prime Minister Johnson visited Kyiv, nothing is changed. So here is relatively safety. But we always use all possible safety measures when our foreign guests and partners visited Kyiv. So I believe, I'm sure, I hope that this visit will be absolutely safety for your Prime Minister and your government members. And
just one final question, Prime Minister, if you'll permit me. There are discussions about Canada reopening its embassy. Many of our allies have already done so, and others have sent diplomats back to Western Ukraine. Do you think Canada should reopen its embassy in Kyiv?
many, I think that most of the embassies are reopened their offices here in Kyiv. So we are waiting for Canada in Kyiv, and I think that it's proper time to reopen your embassy here in Kyiv, because many of Kyiv inhabitants are coming back to Kyiv. Now Kyiv is absolutely a live city like before the war, so it's proper time.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I very much appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.